This video is brought to you by Virtual Shield's VPN service. A VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and it's basically an app that you install on your computer or mobile device that encrypts your information and protects it from hackers and greedy websites trying to track your data. Having a VPN can save you from instances like your credit card information being found or somebody hacking into your home security system. Cheap, helpful, extremely easy to use. Check out Virtual Shield's VPN on sale now. Links will be in the description below. What's up, guys? Beginning of the week. Should be the end of Monday there for many of you back in the States. I had a great time over the weekend speaking at an event in Melbourne, Australia. I talked to probably over 200 Australians, gave them the full download on Q, full download on American politics, and they loved it. Let me tell you, Australians, they want a MAGA, so good stuff. Anyway, as for this video, we have tons to cover. News breaking over the weekend and today. I want to touch on the vaccine topic, what's happening with Iran, some things going on in American politics, and just a lot of other stuff. So we're going to move quick through a bunch of articles. First topic I want to tackle is vaccines. We have some huge things going on in New Jersey today. So New Jersey, their state legislature was supposed to vote on a bill, S2173, and it was the bill there to remove religious exemptions for vaccines. Of course, a lot of people pissed off about that. Some 10,000 people convened on Trenton, New Jersey today to voice their opposition to this. Awesome video I found of the protesters there literally singing the Star-Spangled Banner. I mean, chills from that. Really good stuff. And turns out that the state legislature decided to suspend the vote. They didn't even vote on it. So huge win for health freedom activists over there in New Jersey. And it's a big win too, because the pharmaceutical industry is the #1 industry in New Jersey. So they couldn't buy their way into this one. Next thing I want to talk about in regards to vaccines is a World Health Organization scientist literally caught lying. This is a video out of Del Bigtree's channel, The High Wire with Del Bigtree. He's the producer of Vaxxed. And there was some video that was leaked. It was closed-door testimony of this World Health Organization chief scientist, Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, if I'm getting that right. Anyway, she basically made an ad. She made a promotional video at the end of November that was touting the effectiveness and the safety of vaccines. And then it wasn't just a few days later, on December 3rd, where she was testifying at the Global Vaccine Safety Summit, saying that they need better safety for vaccines. Completely contradicting herself. It was right there in the open. I mean, this is how the pharmaceutical industry operates, especially when it comes to vaccines. They lie all the time. And do you understand how much freaking money they make from those things? That's why they lie. Okay? Poor doctors. So many doctors, they literally just have no idea what really goes on there. And the last article I want to share in regards to vaccines is this. The anti-vaccine protester that allegedly threw menstrual blood on California lawmakers in Sacramento a few months ago, she was charged with doing so. Okay? Now here's the thing. Remember, agent provocateurs, controlled opposition plants. They can infiltrate nearly every truth community, and they do. They infiltrate the QAnon community, the UFO community, and especially the vaccine community. This woman, I would venture to guess, was probably some sort of plant that went and threw what looked to be menstrual blood, or was said to be it, on all the lawmakers there. Then they can run stories like this in the mainstream media, painting the vaccine truth community as crazy, sick people, because of this one person that literally a bunch of my anti-vaccine friends has no idea who it is. They don't know who this chick is. She wasn't actually there even with the protesters in California that day. They had no idea who she was. So probably a provocateur. Always keep that in mind when weird things like this happen and the mainstream media tries to make a show out of it. It's called PSYOPs, man. PSYOPs in action. Now let's move on to Q. So a couple of things on Q. You might have seen the fact that Eddie Bravo was on Joe Rogan in recent days talking about QAnon, being open about it, bringing it on Joe Rogan's podcast to his audience. Now, I found it pretty intriguing that Joe Rogan sidestepped the issue, quickly changed topics, And on one hand, it's a great thing. It's a great thing that that is getting opened up to many new eyes there. But at the same time, I'm cautious. Just be careful, right? Because Joe Rogan's podcast has a long history of having CIA-connected individuals, puppets, controlled opposition plants on his platform. I don't know about Eddie Bravo. He seems like a good dude. I know on Instagram he follows a ton of Q researching accounts on there. But at the same time, he says a lot of things like his flat earth nonsense, and I'm just like, that's kind of weird. So I'm cautious, but it's cool. It's cool to see. And one more thing on Q. So I saw on Twitter that there was this post made on 8kun today, and it says this. Well, the Anon says, this is it. Swearing in for city council in a half an hour. If it wasn't for Q, I would have done this. Where we go one, we go all. So somewhere in the USA, an Anon is now on your city council. How neat. How neat is that, right? I would like to take a vacation to that city. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about some political things, especially what's going on in Iran. So the protests there in Iran, they're getting pretty crazy. Lots of protests going on over the weekend. I believe there was a little bit of clashing that happened as well, some violence that occurred. And people there are incredibly upset with the way that their government completely lied to them over a few days about the downing of that Ukrainian plane. People there aren't happy about it. They're taking to the streets, calling for the execution of their own leader, which that in and of itself is a crime punishable by execution. So how courageous, how brave. I mean, these people in Iran are really stepping out, putting their necks out there, trying to free themselves. And it's beautiful to see. We even have our own president in America tweeting in Farsi for the Iranian people. And how awesome is that? This goes to show you that this isn't about race. This isn't about political affiliation. This isn't about creed or sex or anything like that. This is just about freeing the world, bringing the truth out there, right? Freeing every single country, no matter what skin color. So all of the fake news narratives trying to paint the president as racist, it's just absurd. And in fact, Trump's tweets in Farsi were the most popular tweets that have ever been in that language. How cool is that? And I think that Donald Trump is really gaining some respect for America there in Iran, because I've seen multiple videos in recent days where in Iran, they had the American flag painted on the ground, and you can see the crowds of Iranian people avoiding it, purposely avoiding the flag, trying not to step on it, because it really looks like they're gaining some respect for this country. Because just look at it. The president's trying to help free the world, free the deep state control in America, but look at what's going on in Iran. Look at what's going on in Hong Kong. Those protesters, they're holding up American flags. They're singing the national anthem, right? So where we go one, we go all is worldwide. Great stuff to see. So that's happening in Iran. One more thing going on in Iran too, before we move on into talking some bullshit coming out of the New York Times today. How about this? Iran state TV sees at least 2 news anchors quit. And one of those news anchors said, "Forgive me for the 13 years I told you lies." So that Soleimani character that was taken out just a couple weeks ago is unraveling the corruption in this whole country. The people there are taking this one event as an opportunity to start breaking free from the chains that they're in. So it's just amazing, right? I love it. I love to see Iran become free like that. I wish that would happen in this country, right? Our own state TV actors, aka CNN, NBC, Washington Post. Soon enough we'll get there in this country. Okay, talking about some BS coming out of our own corrupt media in America. How about this report breaking? And their headline is that Russians again. Russians hacked Ukrainian gas company, that's Burisma, at the center of impeachment. Of course, it's not impeachment, it's just an inquiry. And it's an impeachment inquiry that they won't send to the Senate because they know it's just going to die there. So really, there is no impeachment. But nevertheless, the New York Times is saying that Russians hacked Burisma in search of, quote, potentially embarrassing material on the Bidens. Again, Russians, I highly doubt that. Why did they release this article today? Well, I'll show you why. And that's because this news also broke today. The Energy Department is agreeing to begin releasing Ukrainian-related documents. These documents have to do with former Energy Secretary Rick Perry, communications with high-level Ukrainian officials, and a few other documents. I think over the next couple of months that these documents are going to be released in, as per the FOIA that was filed, I think we might be learning some things. I think that might be why the New York Times, the kings of trying to get ahead of the story, well, they're trying to get ahead of the story there. Blame it on the Russians. Damn, always blaming it on the Russians. Poor Russians, man. I'm beginning to feel bad for them at this point. If any of that potentially embarrassing material, which is real material, aka the corruption of the Bidens, becomes public, well then they're going to attempt to say, oh, the Russians, they must have planted it there to frame the Bidens, frame the Obama administration in that hack, right? They're trying to give themselves an out, cover it up here. So, New York Times, like clockwork, as their propaganda always is. Moving on to, still in the realm of politics, this right here. Spy Court picks FISA abuse denier to tackle FISA abuse. So the fox is guarding the henhouse here. The presiding judge of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, the FISC, which of course oversees the FISA process, that judge appointed a dude by the name of David Chris to review the FBI's proposed changes to its surveillance application process. And this was a guy who completely denied the fact that the FISA process was abused to spy on candidate Trump's campaign. So why the hell is he being picked to tackle the FISA abuse here? I mean, this absolutely makes no sense. So that's not making a lot of people happy. That's important to talk about right there. Veritas, Project Veritas, dropping some bombs tomorrow, it looks like, the 14th, for you guys there in the States. So James O'Keefe of Project Veritas put out this tweet today saying, watch this very closely for clues as what's about to drop. Expose 2020, he's calling this new campaign. Hashtag Expose 2020. 1/14/2020 at noon, I'm assuming Eastern Standard Time, tomorrow for you. And if you watch this video, near the end, you can actually see their whiteboard that looks like that they were detailing their campaigns in. And this one says BS is their next one after their Exposed CNN campaign, or their Epstein one, the last one they did. BS, of course, is for we're talking Exposed 2020, the election. BS, Bernie Sanders. So it sounds like Bernie Sanders is going to get some bombs dropped on him tomorrow. And that might be why I believe his campaign manager was trying to do some PR today, saying that, Bernie Sanders didn't say those statements about women not being able to win the nomination or whatever the case was. They're trying to do some PR for him because they know Veritas is going to light him up in a moment here. Moving on into Epstein news. So this breaking today, a federal judge just ruled that a large trove of Epstein-related files, now these are the ones that we've been waiting a few months for, that I thought was going to come out in October-ish. Took a while, but we got some news on it. Not good news. So the motions associated with these documents, the judge decided not to let the public access them. Keep them sealed, it looks like, as of this. So cue the public outrage. I mean, that's some horse shit. I want to know these names. Who cares about their PR, their public relations? Like, we deserve to know, right? So that's that. We'll see. Who knows? There could be a deeper reason for this, but I think it's horseshit. Julian Assange, he made a brief court appearance today, an appearance out in public. Some camera people took some photos of him, so good to see him still breathing, him still alive, Justice for that man. We need it so desperately much. So Julian Assange is at least alive and well, as we can tell. We've got Prince Harry in the news as well. And Prince Harry is really raising some eyebrows because of these statements he made in this brief interview here. He said that, or at least he was claiming in this talk, that he has a family to protect, and that's his reasoning for, I guess they're calling it Megxit, or Harry and Meghan stepping away from the royal duties there in England. And he said that you all killed my mom, I won't let you kill my wife. I won't let you kill my mom, I won't let you kill my wife. And this is really making a lot of people, their ears perk up, because of course Princess Diana, the conspiracy theories out there around her death a couple decades ago, and that being deep state associated. So weird, man. Really weird things going on with Prince Harry. Maybe he's trying to distance himself from the monarchy there in England because of Prince Andrew. What's going on with Prince Andrew? Maybe that. Maybe they're just trying to take attention away from Prince Andrew. So they're purposely having Harry do these things and say these things to take that attention away from, of course, Prince Andrew and all his Epstein associations and that news coming out. Could be. I find it odd that Meghan, she was talking to like the Disney CEO and Jay-Z and Beyonce, it was recently seen, which, doesn't look like they're trying to get away from the cabal if they're doing that, right? So who knows? It could be planned. Maybe this is some sort of white hat operation, and they're leveraging Prince Harry to do this because it's a planned destruction of the Queen there, of the castle in England. A lot of speculations on it. Don't necessarily know. Weird news nonetheless. And then last thing I want to share with you guys is this article coming out of the Federal News Network. I find that interesting. Federal News Network. It's about the Space Force, and it has a very intriguing quote in here about the Space Force. It says, Space Force preparing for everything, even interplanetary operations, as it sets up. And these were the words of the leader of Space Force's Space Operations Command, Major General John Shaw. He said that the new service is building itself for far into the future. They're not thinking years ahead. He was saying that they're thinking about the century, and they're setting things up, thinking about what could happen this century, and that may include interplanetary operations, Shaw said. Now, this is big because these ideas are getting out, of course, into the public. That's the biggest reason for the Space Force, just to start getting people thinking, questioning, right? Start disclosing these ideas onto the public. And of course, the Space Force is allowing the white hats to gain access to these black projects, control them. Then they can start disclosing them. Because when I see the words that may include interplanetary operations, I'm thinking, well, of course, if you actually research the truth out there, secret space programs have existed for decades and decades, and they have much more than likely already been interplanetary operations already. Electrogravitic craft that have gone to the moon, Mars, and most likely beyond. So this has all gone on for a long, long time. How beautiful is it that we're seeing the Space Force set up in our lifetimes, folks, to start disclosing these things. That's why the Space Force is crucial, okay? And let me tell you, my pipe dream, totally to fly in a flying saucer or one of those TR-3Bs, I'm going to do it. I tell you, I'm going to do it in my lifetime. But that's it, everybody. That's all I wanted to go through quickly here with you in this one. And might be a couple days before I can get another news video in at least. But I'll try to get some vlogs of that event over the weekend out later this week, and some other things that have been going on here in Australia with the Edge of Wonder crew and all the folks I'm here with. You'll get to meet them on the channel here. And then also thank you to everybody that's been supporting me on Patreon. Your support is much appreciated. All you guys that have signed up there. I'm going to start doing more exclusive content. I got some behind the scenes stuff that I've been filming here in the land down under that I'll throw up on my Patreon account later in the week. So if you want access to that, if you want to support the journalism work that I do, and if you want to get access to some of those giveaways and just a lot of the other fun that I have on Patreon too, go sign up there. Thank you for doing so, and thank you for all you guys for watching this one. I'm out. See you again soon.